All right. So, hello, it's me again. So, I want to talk about Jack Kit and two potential ways of my ideas that the devs could buff it. Because Jack Kit is easily one of like the worst kits in the game. It can all you do is just spit out poison. You don't spit out poison. You spit out oil that can poison people when they step on it, and it's pretty slippery. But it's just super easy to escape. All you gotta do is just spam jump out of the area, and even then, the poison damage and the damage itself from those is not that strong. But in my ideas, I have two ideas. One of which is to just buff Jack in his current state, and the other is like a complete redesign in its current iteration. Also, this will be a new series. I'm starting where I either buff trash kits or I nerf super good ones to try to make Bedwars as a game feel a little more balanced because everyone knows that kits are not balanced currently. So, in this series, I will propose two ideas. One is to buff or nerf the kit, and the second one is just completely overhaul it. And that's basically fundamental you know. So first I'm gonna start off with like the potential like just a basic buff you can give to Jack. The buff is to make the blobs cost iron. I do not know why the blobs just cost emeralds. But like it might be. I mean, like it might be easier to get emeralds in squads in 30v30, but like in doubles, solos. Yeah, they definitely need to make the blobs cost iron, and a bit of future, and a bit of applying this to another kid. Ravens should also cost ravens and their little ah birds should also cost iron. I do not know why they cost M, but yeah, that's definitely the first thing I would change. Make the blobs cost iron. Personally, I think 70 iron should be fine. Because like it's obviously not too low that you can simply just start with the blob early game, and and not too late where basically blobs can't be used early game. Current iteration, but however however a part of this buff I would give Jack a unique ability so that when blobs like on the ground and they're like spreading and stuff, they actually have a hitbox. Now this hitbox will not react to anything except fire damage. When fire damage like attacks the blob will ignite, causing 30 base damage with a fire effect that lasts 3 seconds but resets if you're still staying every if you're still staying in the fire, and you obviously have to get out of the fire in order to like escape the ignition. I feel like this by itself, you don't even have to do the overhaul. These buffs by itself would make Jack become much more versatile and like actually deal like good damage because like that's what a ranger kit should do, like apply good damage at distance. However, now it's time for my overhaul. How I would completely change Jack. Jack. What I propose is that Jack starts off with 2 barrels of oil. One of these barrels is completely black with the oil sign a little drip, and the other one is like a darker blue, but also has the same design, just darker blue. Blue. First, we're gonna start off with the black barrel. First, what I propose is that like it's basic. So basically, when Jack places down this barrel, he can interact with it, and after like 10 seconds, it'll give him a basic oil blob, and these oil blobs will be completely identical to the ones we have Jack has currently. They will not the whole igniting thing that will not be there. It will just be completely identical to like the the oil blobs that Trash Jack currently throws out. Am I mean, and it's a nitpick that I didn't write right now is that I if the process proves to be a little too overpowered because sweats because I'm not even gonna call sweats good players will all learn OP straps with this. In my opinion, you can nerf the blobs. You can nerf them, Like you can nerf them, or you can just make the process longer. But personally, I would make them stay the same. But I can understand if the devs want to nerf them to be weaker than like the ones Jack has currently. But but teammate, here's the thing: these oil barrels, they can be placed. You can either like get them manually from your inventory, like pull them out, or you can place the barrels down so your teammates can get some blocks. The teammates will have a max uses of the barrel will have a max uses. Sorry, of five uses, and once like it completely used up, Jack will have to buy a new barrel with cost 120 iron. Now, however, the second barrel is where like the actual overhaul gets interesting. Interesting. So the blue barrel is you have to place it down. You have to place the barrel down, and in order to use it. And when you do this, you can drop a ranged weapon like a bow, a crossbow, a headhunter, anything as long as it does range damage. So, in my opinion, I think it would a little bit too overpowered if other kits that have different ranged weapons can still place their weapon into the barrel. So in my opinion, I don't think that should be a mechanic. Just regular bows, crossbows, head-ons. And so when you do this, a 40-second process happens where the barrel starts like influencing the weapon, like oiling the weapon. And after like the process is completely finished, you'll be able to grab your weapon from the barrel again, and it will gain a oily edge ability for 3 minutes. And what will this be? What will this do? It will apply oil to enemies. And what happens when enemies are oiled? When enemies are oiled, they will be like slippery. It'll just make the enemies more slippery. Right there. Okay, I'm sorry. But there's 4 stages of oil, and and each progressive stage you make, and you should obviously you should deal you progress through stages by actually like hitting people with the ranged weapon you oiled, and it comes with a special ability. Jack once even like at the most the first stage of oil, Jack will be able to ignite, like completely ignite the oil, which will cause the oil to burn, deal a base damage, and then do fire damage. And each stage you progressively make at, well, first I didn't write this down, but obviously the higher the stage, the more slippery your character will be. And at the fourth stage, honestly, I think like every every 2 seconds when you attempt to walk, you would just completely slip, and like ragdoll, kind of like with the stun gun, like basically like the same effect the stun gun has. Obviously, definitely not launching people across the map. Kind of not that much of stun gun, but like the effect of the stun gun, like stunning you. I think that should be like how the slippery should be introduced in the fourth stage. But each progressive stage, the ignite effect will become better. The first stage will only deal 10 damage with the second fire damage. The fire damage, in my opinion, should do 3. The second stage will do 15 damage with 2 seconds of fire damage. And the third stage, 20 seconds with 20 damage with 3 seconds of fire damage. Sorry. And the fourth stage will do 30 damage with the same amount of time with the third stage task, but it will gain 50% armor penetration. In my opinion, the ignite damage in order to like kind of nerf it off a bit because I don't want Jack to become completely overpowered. I do I do think that like the fire damage can be affected by armor. Like so like the natural like damage reduction armor can do. I do think this should apply to the base damage, obviously not the fire damage. But with the fourth stage, I do think the damage should the base damage should have a 50% armor penetration. But this barrel will have only 6 uses, and I honestly think this should have only 3. Honestly, only 3 uses, and after like the barrel gets completely used up, you have to get 6 M's to get a replacement for it. And of course, teammates can use it. Teammates can use it, but of course it would use up the barrel more, requiring you to like replace it, which will obviously cost M's. Overall, I think I'm fun like either the overhaul or even the basic buffs will make Jack way better than its current state. Because like as I said, Jack is easily one of the worst kids in the game right now. So that's my idea. Let me know if y'all think.